Hey guys, welcome to the next video. In this video, we are going to set up OpenShift on GCP. The first thing you're going to need for this is basically creating a project to work on it. So in Google Cloud, it's it's basically creating projects to work or to segregate different loads or different type of works into different projects. For example, OCP related stuff, I want to create a separate project and put it under the venky OCP-GCP. So in this way, you can segregate the workload which is related to this project separately from the other projects. Now, the projects can be under organization. An organization can be a company which you're part of, so you can create an organization in that way. And you can put in or align those projects according to the organization. Now, in this project, for creating this new project, just type projects on the name of it, and you will be having option over here to create an object. So typically, you can have 25 projects in a Google Cloud platform. So you have 23 projects left over. So because I have the default project, which is the first project, and then the OCP project, and then the one which I'm going to create. So you have about 23 projects in your quota. You can increase that later point of time. It depends on what kind of a relationship you have with GCP. So based on that, you will be able to increase or decrease the number of projects you have out there. All right, so for this particular profile, I don't have any free tire because all my free tire on this particular is expired already. So I have like the paid tire for this. So firstly, you create a project. Once you have the project, then go access my my GitHub page, Computer Trainer 0, and you should go inside OpenShift, the main branch, and under that you will have the file uploaded called GCP-OpenShift. Now this file is going to have some content over here. Firstly, to install the GCP command line utility called gcloud, and this basically is your Google CLI, Google Cloud CLI, where you can do stuff with your Google Cloud. So I've not updated the document completely, but when I go forward, I'll just copy paste some of the items which is on my notepad over here as well, so that we all can do all these simultaneously. So most of the action items we will be setting up from the command line, as GCP's UI requires a lot of improvements. That is definitely for sure. Especially the compute engine over here has a lot of items over here segregated without like sorting. You can see that it's like all open and there is no way like you can understand what it is until you know everything about it. There's so many items over here, and it's a little chaotic as you can see from the beginning. But you have to close all these things by default, and then you have to open it if you need it. But it comes by open, like all these options are like open. So that's first thing, and then there are just too many things over here under this, which can be under the VM instance. It can have multiple items inside it. So rather, I'm not here to complain about the UI, but then it's always better to have some good looking UI. But most of the items you will do from command line on this training video. So once you have done the installation over here, just do the yum install with the Google-Cloud-CLI. This should get your gcloud installed. Now to authenticate, you can use this authenticator. Now remember, the authentication works on browser. So it will not launch a browser, but it will give you a link. So it will say like, go to the following link on the browser and sign in. So if you have logged in already to the Google Cloud, all you have to do is like copy paste this link. Do not press any enter or here. So this will be prompted for your response. Now this is the verification code which you will get as part of the response for this one. For example, if you just copy paste it on the browser, it's going to open up and say like which user you want to select if you have multiple users. And then you select the user which has the Google Cloud account enabled. So firstly, you need to create a Google Cloud account, which is very easy to create. And once that is done, you would be getting a password, kind of a passphrase, and then you basically copy paste it. Now, why I'm showing this to you, because it don't have any relevance, because even if you manage to copy paste it, it will not work because this is only active for this URL. So every time you give a new URL, this is a authentication. So for that URL, you will get a passphrase. So that passphrase needs to be pasted over here. For a safer side, I'm just going to remove it, but do remember that there will be a password over here which you need to get, and that is only valid for the URL. So if you're going to press enter over here without giving any passphrase and you execute the same command one more time, you cannot use that old one. So you need to generate a new passphrase and you're gonna give it over here. That's how OAuth2 works. All right. So now that we have logged in, now you can verify the login with this command. Um, just give me 1 second. I don't want to type that command because it shows my username, like my email address. So I'm just gonna copy paste it on the document. Um, so the command to check if you have logged in. So that is gcloud auth list. Okay, so auth list will give you the your user ID saying that it is logged into your account, and it will say your uh, email address. Okay, so that's kind of confirmation that you have logged in into gcloud. Now, now we need to make sure that we are present in the correct project. So you need to set in the value for creating a project. So you can put this command over here. So gcloud config set project venky OCP. Make sure that this project is present, and then you can just type and enter over here. So just this is a command over here. So this is gonna set the project as venky, venky OCP GCP. So this is going to set this project. I'm just waiting for a confirmation. And then you have this other command over here, which will be listing the project. So what is our current project you are in? So this will get value for project. Okay, so you are in the right project name. Now, for us to work with GCP on OpenShift, OpenShift requires you to enable certain services, and how it works in Google is that you need to enable services to use them. So make sure that you copy some of the services. For me is enabled already, but I'm gonna type those commands anyway. So here you set the services saying that I want to enable these services, and then it's going to connect to GCP and it's going to enable these services for you. And if it's already enabled, it's gonna say that it's already enabled. So I'm just waiting for a response back. I'll pause the video and pause it once it's complete. All right, so now the services are enabled. I think only 4 services was not enabled. So all those 4 services was enabled now, which is not enabled before. Um, so I think we should be able to work with this now. Now the next thing is like what we are going to do is I'm going to log off from the session, re-log in because it's a bit slow. It doesn't normally take this much time. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to come back to you. Just hold on. Okay, I got that rolling right now. So now it's much faster actually. So I had to log off and then log in back into the Bastion host, and then I use the local system as a Bastion host. I don't go with another server hosted on the cloud because I have to pay for that. So I try to install VMware and host a Bastion host on my server. Just try to saving cost. Saving cost is more important than anything else right now. So the next command is going to be creating service account. Now service accounts are going to be mandatory for us. Like for example, if you want to use, or if you want the OCP, OpenShift to be using services on your GCP, then you need to have a service account created and associate that service account to use OpenShift so that it will have access to all your services which you have out there, and it'll be able to work as independently as it can. So what we're going to do is like firstly we're going to execute this command. This command it says that gcloud IAM service account create OCP installer. That's the name of the service account, and the display name is OpenShift installer. It's like kind of like a description for this. So this is going to end up creating the service account with this name. Now I just created a service account called OCP installer. The next command is basically setting up some parameters for which is required for us, like variables, which is required for this particular setup. Like for example, we're gonna get the project ID. Project ID is a value which is gonna be gathered by gcloud config get value project, and this is gonna get the value of this project, which is basically your project ID. And then we're gonna set a system administrator email or for the service account email, and we're gonna put it as OCP-installer, which is name of the service account, at the rate of project ID .iam .gserviceaccount.com. So this is going to be the email address. So we are setting it as a variable. So when you do this, it's gonna set up these two variables, and then you can type in echo $of project underscore ID. You can project underscore ID. You can see the project ID over here, and you can also see the SA email ID just like this. So you can see that actual SA that is a service account email address. Now using these two information, I'm going to execute a new parameter over here for giving a broad range of permissions which we need to use for us to work with OpenShift. For a real customer or production, do not use owner because owner will give everything. Use the minimalistic role which is available for you, and that is for production utilization. As we're doing this as a trial and for practice and training purposes, I'm going to use the role as the complete role. I can see that it is all created right now. So your IAM policy for the project is updated. Now these are some of the services which got binded to the role. So you can see that this service account over here is binded to the owner role. So these were already there actually as part of the owner role. So this is also added to it. Now that we have created this, we need to create a service account key, because to access the service account, we need to access it via a service account key. So to create a service account key, we will use this command called gcloud IAM service account key create, and then which file it needs to create. So we are creating GCP OCP key .json, and this is going to create a file on the local system. So I don't want to execute it here. I have a specific folder over here. So I've created a folder called OpenShift. Normally I put all my items over here. So like for example, SNO, GCP, Alibaba. So likewise I've created different folders for different activities so that I can separate it or independently, have these configuration running. All right, so now let's execute this. So it will take the SA email address from whatever the values you have set. But do remember, if you log off, the SA email account which you have set as a variable will be lost. So please do it before you log off from the session. So do it as one particular action item. Changing the folder will not affect it. So don't worry about changing folder because that is set in the current session level, the environment variables. So until you log off or log out or switch to a different user, it's going to be as it is. Now you can see that it just created an key, the type of JSON, and the key and the secret will be in this file. And then this is for that particular email address. So that's your basically including your project name. Now all we have to do is we have to export this JSON key. Oh, actually it is created in the home folder. See this command? This is telling home folder. So I should copy this and move it here. And then type export. And then point to the JSON. So what I did now is basically created this the secret and the key file into this file rather than showing it on the command line. Okay, so I've created in this file and I'm exporting this key file into this variable, and I'm using export command to export this variable, which includes the file information of this file. So when I execute the next command of authenticating my or service account, I use this command over here. So here, Google Cloud auth activate service account. So rather than using my user ID, I'll be using the service account with the file name where the credentials are present in this file, which actually goes over here where the file is actual file of the key and the secret is written over here. And then I'm listing my authentication. So let's see how it works. So firstly, it will have to read it. It says unable to read such no such file or directory. We got stuck. I'm just gonna give it 2 minutes. I'm gonna pause the video and pause it. Okay, so it returned. So I'm just gonna try this again one more time. The problem is, oh God, I accidentally pressed Control D instead of Control. Okay, that's all right. That should be fine. So let's go back to OpenShift, OCP, GCP. So this is where our JSON file is. So I'm gonna re-export this file. Um, I'm gonna make it as just a JSON file in the local folder, and I'm gonna execute the first line. You can see that the service account credential for this is activated the service account credentials. So which means that now I can use that to do all those activity. Now in the next video, we're going to proceed with the DNS. So we need to make sure that this beyondcloud.online is working, because this is the domain name which we are going to use. So for example, I want this activity, like for example, I want the base domain should be GCP beyondcloud.online, and cluster name should be Venky, and then full cluster name will be venky.gcp beyondcloud.online, and your base domain is going to be this, and then full cluster name. Oh, I think it's repeating again. So this is what I need to do. So I need to make sure that this beyondcloud.online is registered to this. So which means that I need to open the DNS in your GCP. I need to refer this Beyond Cloud Online is my domain, and then I need to authenticate this information back to my by my name server, which is hosted on namespace, sorry, Namecheap, and then there I need to go and give the NS lookup for these NS name service record names, which is popping up in GCP. I need to copy that over there, and then that creates a communication between here and there, and then I'll be able to work on that. So pretty much all those things we'll be covering on the next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. I'll see you on the next one.